Liam John Neeson OBE is a Northern Irish actor. He has been nominated for a number of awards, including an Academy Award for Best Actor, a BAFTA Award for Best Actor in a Leading Role, and 3 Golden Globe Awards for Best Actor in a Motion Picture Drama. Empire magazine ranked Neeson among both the 100 sexiest stars in film history and the top 100 movie stars of all time.
In 1976, Neeson joined the Lyric Players Theatre in Belfast for 2 years. He then acted in the Arthurian film Excalibur. Between 1982 and 1987, Neeson starred in 5 films, most notably alongside Mel Gibson and Anthony Hopkins in The Bounty, and Robert De Niro and Jeremy Irons in The Mission. He landed a leading role alongside Patrick Swayze in Next of Kin.
Neeson rose to prominence when he starred as Oscar Schindler in Schindler's List. He has since starred in other successful films, including the drama Nell, the historical biopic Michael Collins, the 1998 film adaptation of Victor Hugo's Les Miserables, the epic space opera Star Wars, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, the biographical drama Kinsey, the superhero film Batman Begins, the action thriller series Taken, the survival film The Grey, and the historical drama Silence. He also provided the voices of Aslan in the Chronicles of Narnia trilogy and the titular monster in A Monster Calls.
Liam John Neeson was born in Ballymena on June 7, 1952, the son of Catherine Kitty Neeson, a cook, and Bernard Barney Neeson, a caretaker at the Ballymena Boys All Saints Primary School. Raised Roman Catholic, he was named Liam after the local priest. The third of 4 siblings, he has 3 sisters, Elizabeth, Bernadette, and Rosaline. Neeson said growing up as a Catholic in a predominantly Protestant town made him cautious, and once said he felt like a second-class citizen there, but has also said he was never made to feel inferior or even different at the town's predominantly Protestant technical college. Neeson has described himself as out of touch with the politics and history of Northern Ireland until becoming aware of protests by fellow students after Bloody Sunday in 1972, during the Troubles. That experience encouraged him to learn more local history. In a 2009 interview, Neeson said, "I never stopped thinking about it. I've known guys and girls who have been perpetrators of violence and victims. Protestants and Catholics. It's part of my DNA."
At age 9, Neeson began boxing lessons at the All Saints Youth Club, going on to win a number of regional titles before discontinuing at age 17. He acted in school productions during his teens. Neeson's interest in acting and decision to become an actor were also influenced by Ian Paisley, founder of the Democratic Unionist Party, into whose Free Presbyterian Church of Ulster Neeson would sneak. Neeson has said of Paisley, "He had a magnificent presence and it was incredible to watch him just Bible thumping away. It was acting, but it was also great acting and stirring too." In 1971, Neeson was enrolled as a physics and computer science student at Queen's University Belfast, before leaving to work for the Guinness Brewery. At Queen's, he discovered a talent for football and was spotted by Sean Thomas at Bohemian FC. There was a club trial in Dublin, and Neeson played 1 game as a substitute against Shamrock Rovers FC but was not offered a contract.
After leaving university, Neeson returned to Ballymena, where he worked in a variety of casual jobs, from a forklift operator at Guinness to a truck driver. He also attended teacher training college for 2 years in Newcastle upon Tyne, England, before again returning to his hometown. In 1976, Neeson joined the Lyric Players Theatre in Belfast, where he performed for 2 years. He got his first film experience in 1977, playing Jesus Christ and Evangelist in the religious film Pilgrim's Progress. Neeson moved to Dublin in 1978 after he was offered a part in Ron Hutchinson's Says He, a drama about the Troubles, at the Project Arts Centre. He acted in several other project productions and joined the Abbey Theatre. In 1980, he performed alongside Stephen Aurier, Ray McAnally, and Mick Lally, playing Dolty in Brian Friel's play Translations, the first production of Friel's and Reesfield Day Theatre Company, first presented in the Guildhall, Derry, on September 23, 1980.
In 1980, filmmaker John Borman saw him on stage as Lenny Small in Of Mice and Men and offered him the role of Sir Gawain in the Arthurian film Excalibur. After Excalibur, Neeson moved to London, where he continued working on stage, in small-budget films and in television. He lived with the actress Helen Mirren at this time, whom he met working on Excalibur. Between 1982 and 1987, Neeson starred in 5 films, most notably alongside Mel Gibson and Anthony Hopkins in 1984's The Bounty and Robert De Niro and Jeremy Irons in 1980's IXS The Mission. Neeson guest starred in the 3rd season of the television series Miami Vice in 1986 and moved to Hollywood to star in more high-profile roles in the next year. That year, he starred alongside Cher and Dennis Quaid in Suspect, a role that brought him critical acclaim. In 1988, he starred alongside Clint Eastwood in the 5th Dirty Harry film, The Deadpool, in the role of Peter Swan, a horror film director. In 1990, he followed this with a starring role in Sam Raimi's Dark Man. Although the film was successful, Neeson's subsequent years did not bring him the same recognition. In 1993, he joined Ellis Island co-star and future wife Natasha Richardson in the Broadway play Anna Christie. They also worked together in Nell, released the following year.
Director Steven Spielberg offered Neeson the role of Oskar Schindler in his film about the Holocaust, Schindler's List, after seeing him in Anna Christie on Broadway. Kevin Costner, Mel Gibson, and Warren Beatty all expressed interest in portraying Schindler, but Neeson was cast in December 1992 after formally auditioning for the role. Neeson read the Keneally book and concluded that his character enjoyed thukin with the Nazis. In Keneally's book, it says he was regarded as a kind of a buffoon by them. If the Nazis were New Yorkers, he was from Arkansas. They don't quite take him seriously, and he used that to full effect. His critically acclaimed performance earned him a nomination for a Best Actor Oscar, and helped the film earn Best Picture of 1993. Neeson also garnered BAFTA and Golden Globes nominations for his performance as Schindler. Soon after these accolades, Neeson became an in-demand leading actor. He starred in the subsequent period pieces Rob Roy and Michael Collins, the latter earning him a win for Best Starring Role at the Venice Film Festival and another Golden Globe nomination. He went on to star as Jean Valjean in the 1998 adaptation of Victor Hugo's Les Miserables and in The Haunting as Dr. David Marrow.
In 1999, Neeson starred as Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn in Star Wars, Episode I, The Phantom Menace. Director George Lucas cast Neeson in the role because he considered him a master actor, who the other actors will look up to, who has got the qualities of strength that the character demands. As the first Star Wars film to be released in 16 years, it was surrounded by a large amount of media anticipation. Neeson's connection to Star Wars started in the Crown Bar, Belfast. He told Ricky Lake, "I probably wouldn't have taken the role if it wasn't for the advice of Peter King in The Crown during a lyric reunion." Despite mixed reviews from critics and fans, The Phantom Menace was an enormous box office success and remained the most financially successful Star Wars film unadjusted for inflation until Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Neeson's performance as Qui-Gon received positive reviews and a Saturn Award nomination. A stock recording of his voice from The Phantom Menace can be heard during a scene in Star Wars, Episode II, Attack of the Clones. Neeson was later reported to be appearing in Star Wars, Episode III, Revenge of the Sith, but ultimately did not. In the animated television series Star Wars: The Clone Wars, Neeson reprised the role of Qui-Gon by voicing the character in 2 episodes of the 3rd season and 1 episode of the 6th season. He most recently made a voice cameo as Qui-Gon in Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, among other veteran Star Wars actors.
Neeson narrated the 2001 documentary's Journey into Amazing Caves, a short film about 2 scientists who travel around the world to search for material for potential cures, and the Endurance, Shackleton's legendary Antarctic adventure. The latter won awards at a number of film festivals, including Best Documentary from both the Chicago Film Critics Association and the National Board of Review. After being nominated for a Tony Award for his role opposite Laura Linney in The Crucible, Neeson appeared with Harrison Ford in Catherine Bigelow's 2002 submarine thriller K-19, The Widowmaker as Captain Mikhail Polnine. He was also on the cast of Martin Scorsese's Gangs of New York with Leonardo DiCaprio, Brendan Gleeson, Cameron Diaz, and Daniel Day-Lewis, and played a recently widowed writer in Richard Curtis's ensemble comedy Love Actually. His role as Alfred Kinsey in Kinsey again put Neeson up for nomination for a Golden Globe Award, but he lost to Leonardo DiCaprio for The Aviator.
In 2004, Neeson hosted an episode of the NBC sketch show Saturday Night Live. He starred as a redneck trucker, Marlon Weaver, in an Appalachian emergency room sketch and as a hippie in a one-off sketch about two stoners who attempt to borrow a police dog to find their lost stash of marijuana. Despite vowing not to play any Irish stereotypes, Neeson did play a stereotypically Irish man named Lorcan McCardle in the home makeover show parody You Call This a House, Dia.
In 2005, Neeson played Godfrey of Ibelin in Ridley Scott's epic adventure Kingdom of Heaven, Ra's al Ghul, one of the main villains in Batman Begins, and Father Bernard in Neil Jordan's adaptation of Patrick McKay's novel Breakfast on Pluto. In The Simpsons episode The Father, the Son, and the Holy Guest Star, he voiced the kindly priest who converts Bart and Homer to Catholicism. That same year, he gave his voice to the lion Aslan in the blockbuster fantasy film The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. In 2007, he starred in the American Civil War epic Seraphim Falls.
Neeson voiced the main character's father, James, in the video game Fallout 3. Executive producer Todd Howard said, "This role was written with Liam in mind, and provides the dramatic tone for the entire game." Fallout 3, the third game in the Fallout series, was extremely well received by critics and shipped 4.7 million copies by the end of 2008, the year it was released.
In the director's commentary of the 2007 Transformers DVD, Michael Bay said he had told the animators to seek inspiration from Neeson in creating Optimus Prime's body language. Neeson appeared as Alistair Little in the BBC Northern Ireland/Big Fish Films television drama 5 Minutes of Heaven, which tells the true story of a young Protestant man convicted of murdering a Catholic boy during the Troubles.
In 2008, Neeson starred in the action film Taken, a French-produced film also starring Famke Janssen and Maggie Grace, based on a script by Luc Besson and Robert Mark Kamen and directed by Pierre Morel. Neeson plays a retired CIA operative from the Elite Special Activities Division who sets about tracking down his teenage daughter after she is kidnapped. Taken was a worldwide box office hit, grossing $223.9 million worldwide, making almost $200 million more than its production budget. Neeson has said in interviews that he believed that Taken had put some people off the idea of actually traveling to Europe. Taken brought Neeson back into the center of the public eye and resulted in his being cast in many more big-budget Hollywood movies. That year he also narrated the documentary Black Holes, The Other Side of Infinity, and again lent his voice to Aslan in the Chronicles of Narnia, Prince Caspian. He also provided a voice for Hayao Miyazaki's anime film Ponyo on the Cliff by the Sea, which received an August 2009 release.
In 2010, Neeson played Zeus in the remake of the 1981 film, Clash of the Titans. The film was a huge box office hit, grossing $475 million worldwide. Neeson also starred in Adam McGowan's erotic thriller Chloe, theatrically released by Sony Pictures Classics on March 26, 2010. Chloe had enjoyed commercial success and became the Canadian director's biggest money-maker ever. Later the same year, he played John Hannibal Smith in the spin-off movie from the television series The A-Team. Neeson continued to voice Aslan in the sequel The Chronicles of Narnia, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
In 2011, Neeson starred in the action thriller Unknown, a German-British-American co-production of a French book filmed in Berlin in early 2010, and directed by Jaume Collet-Serra. This film led to a collaboration between Neeson and Collet-Serra on a series of similar action films including Non-Stop, Run All Night and The Commuter.
Neeson reunited with Steven Spielberg with plans to star as Abraham Lincoln in the 2012 film Lincoln, based on the book Team of Rivals by Doris Kearns Goodwin. In preparation for the role, Neeson visited the District of Columbia in Springfield, Illinois, where Lincoln lived before being elected, and read Lincoln's personal letters. Neeson eventually declined the role, claiming he was past his sell date and had grown too old to play Lincoln. He was replaced by Daniel Day-Lewis.
It was announced in July 2010 that Neeson would guest star on a new Showtime series, The Big C. In 2011, he played himself in BBC Two's series Life's Too Short. In late 2011, Neeson was cast to play the lead character, a journalist, in a new album recording and arena production of Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds. He replaced Richard Burton, who had posthumously appeared in the arena production through CGI animation. Neeson did not physically appear on the stage, instead playing the role through the use of 3D holography. In 2012, Neeson starred in Joe Carnahan's The Great. The film received mostly positive reviews and Neeson's performance received critical acclaim. He also starred in Taken 2, a successful sequel to his 2008 blockbuster. That year, he once again played Ra's al Ghul in The Dark Knight Rises, the third and final film in Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight trilogy. He narrated the first trailer for the film.
On January 31, 2014, it was reported that Neeson would work with director Martin Scorsese again in an adaptation of the novel Silence. Neeson had a supporting role as the henchman bad cop/good cop in the animated film The Lego Movie, which was a critical and commercial success. Neeson later played Bill Marx in the 2014 action film Nonstop. The film was released on February 28, 2014. He also appeared, uncredited, as God in the BBC Two series Revelation. Neeson stars in the 2014 film A Walk Among the Tombstones, an adaptation of the best-selling novel of the same name, in which he plays former cop Matthew Scudder, a detective hired to hunt the killers of a drug dealer's wife.
During Super Bowl XLIX, Supercell did a Clash of Clans commercial with Neeson playing the game as Angry Neeson 52 and vowing revenge on his opponent Big Birthday Boy 85 while waiting for his scone at a bakery. The appearance was a parody of his role in Taken. In 2016, Neeson narrated the Rude One three-part documentary on the Easter Rising, 1916. In 2016, he voiced the monster in the Spanish film A Monster Calls.
Neeson opposes what he sees as the unrestricted right to own firearms in the United States and has made calls for gun control. In January 2015, he repeated his views, calling U.S. gun laws a disgrace in an interview with Emirati newspaper Gulf News when replying to a question about the Charlie Hebdo shootings in Paris earlier that month. In response, U.S. gun manufacturer Para USA, which provided the weapons used by Neeson in the Taken film series, expressed regret at working with him, saying, "We will no longer provide firearms for use in films starring Liam Neeson and ask that our friends and partners in Hollywood refrain from associating our brand and products with his projects."
In 2014, he protested against the anti-carriage horse campaign of New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio, who said he would outlaw horse-drawn carriages in Central Park once he took office. Neeson wrote an opinion page published in the New York Times citing the carriage trade as a safe one for employees, horses, and tourists and noted it was a livelihood for many immigrants.
Neeson narrated a video for Amnesty International in favor of the legalization of abortion in Ireland, which some conservative and pro-life commentators criticized, calling it creepy and anti-Catholic.
In September 2017, Liam Neeson compared the presidency of Donald Trump to the Watergate scandal of Richard Nixon, saying, "Democracy works and no man and certainly not the president is above the law. He has to be accountable."
In January 2018, Neeson raised concerns over the Me Too movement on Ireland's The Late Late Show, describing the movement as a witch hunt, and citing Garrison Keillor's dismissal from Minnesota Public Radio.
In February 2019, Neeson was accused of racism after a press junket interview he had conducted with The Independent, while promoting his film Cold Pursuit, about a father seeking revenge for his son's murder. Neeson explained his character's primal anger by recounting an experience he had dozens of years ago. A woman close to him had been raped by a stranger, and Neeson asked what color skin the attacker had. After learning the attacker was black, Neeson said that for about a week, he went up and down areas with Akash, hoping some black bastard would come out of a pub and have a go so that Neeson could kill him. In the interview, Neeson also said he was ashamed to recount the experience and that it was horrible that he did what he did. It's awful. But I did learn a lesson from it, when I eventually thought, what the fuck are you doing?
In an appearance on Good Morning America, Neeson elaborated on his experience while denying being a racist, saying the incident occurred nearly 40 years ago, that he asked for physical attributes of the rapist other than race, that he would have done the same if the rapist was a Scot or a Brit or a Lithuanian, that he had purposely gone into black areas of the city, and that he did seek help from a priest after coming to his senses. Neeson said that the lesson of his experience was to open up, to talk about these things, as there was still underlying racism and bigotry in both the United States and Northern Ireland. The controversy Neeson's comments caused led to the cancellation of the red carpet event for the premiere of Cold Pursuit.
Trevor Noah defended Neeson, saying, I want to live in a world where a person who said something like that is ashamed of it and they are telling it to you and you aren't catching them out, and that it was a powerful admission. Michelle Rodriguez, Whoopi Goldberg, and Ralph Fiennes have also defended Neeson.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.